a big presence at the state conference we have here in Anchorage every November. And if you participate in one of the fly-ins to Juneau, you'll also be interacting with her. So, take it away, Timmy.
Thank you, Tam. So again, my name is Timmy Tullis, and it is like a boy, and my parents didn't want one. They just got me, and that became my name. And then when I got married, that is my real name. And then when I got married, I became a cartoon character, kind of like Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Timmy Tullis. It all kind of goes well there. So, but that's, my board members, I will answer to almost anything. I answer to Tammy, I answer to Tina, and I really answer to Tilly, because in Western Alaska, there's a lot of Matildas, and Matildas get called Tilly, and so then they take Timmy and Tullis and they just come up with Tilly, and I was fine with that until I had 2 troublemaker board members from the Iditarod School District. They were like those 7th grade boys, you know, that we all know 7th grade boys, and they started calling me Willie. And I said, okay guys, now I'm going to draw the line. So, but they thought that was so funny. So I have been with the School Board Association for 18 years, which sometimes amazes me. Talk about when you find home. Before that, I worked in the university system and I ran residence hall. So if any of you have ever sent students to college, I was the crazy lady that lived with them. Before that, I taught middle school. So if you can see a pattern there, middle school, crazy. College freshmen, crazy. School board members, sometimes crazy. So, no, I love them all. But there is that sense of, you know, it's just, it's an unknown world, and it's working together. And I was going to, Tam and I had talked about coming up and doing one of these, and originally I was going to come earlier in the year, and she said, no, let's come after our election when we get some new people and come on and chat. So we're going to spend a little time tonight talking about roles and responsibilities. We're going to do an activity, oversight, overstep. And if you're not a board member, after the tutorial we're going to go through, you'll be able to know what's the oversight or overstep. And then I have a few articles that I've passed out that maybe some people have read in advance, but I'm going to look at some articles and just get some talking going around the roles of board members. I know half the room aren't board members, but I think it's important because so much of this is transferable to any board. I mean, not just school boarding, but any kind of board you may choose to be on, or if someday you're thinking like, oh, I might want to run for the board, or maybe you have run for the board, and next time you'll be empowered even more because you'll know some of the stuff. So I'm just excited that you're all here, and as Tam said, I plan all of our professional development, so I'm the one that reaches out and says, hey, Lauren, can you come speak? And she has come in and talked to my group before. And then I'm on the road traveling around training boards. Last week I was in Dillingham. The week before that I was in Metlakatla. So I just kind of hopped the state, and I'm really excited to be here today and be part of this. So I guess I'm just curious. I want to go around the tables real fast because I think it's important to bring us together, and you probably did that earlier. But I would like us, you didn't do any intros? Oh, well, great. Well, then I'm going to.
I knew you were going to do it.
Oh, well, there you go, Tam. Way to read my mind. So what I'd like us to do is just maybe if you could just stand up and obviously, or you don't have to stand up, but just say your name and maybe why you chose to come tonight, and if you have a specific role, let me know that role. And then let's make it fun. Let's ask one more thing, like, where's your next vacation? Or at least, where would you wish your next vacation was if you don't have one planned? How's that sound? So Kathleen, because I know you so well, I'm going to start with you, and we'll just go around the tables.
So, I'm Kathleen Plunkett. I actually serve on the ASB Board of Directors.
She's one of my bosses then.
So I get the privilege of doing lots of stuff with Timmy. I really appreciate you. You've never learned enough material, and if you guys haven't, the Superintendent Board Relations webinar that you did would be excellent for everyone to participate in.
It's on our website and it's free, so I can direct you to that if you don't know, or Katie can.
So, does Cordova count as?
No.
Well, since you're going there with me this summer, sure.
That's truly my vacation time was going to be the.
Well, and I would say save up your money for Copper River Police. That's all I've got to say about Cordova.
So I'll be going to Cordova in
July.
July. My next big dream vacation, once I'm off the board, would be to go to Norway and Sweden to visit my relatives. And I have a cousin who's part of the Swedish Parliament, and she's going to take me through. So
There you go.
that's
All right, Nikki.
All right, I'm Nikki Rose. I'm from Sand Lake. And I came because I was invited. My mom's a school teacher. And as a member of the Sand Lake community and the president, I thought I'd get more informed because we don't have someone that comes regularly to our meetings from the school board. We meet on the same night, so it makes it tricky for that dynamic to work. So I thought, what a better way than me going to them as opposed to them coming to me. And I'd like to take this information back to my community council, get them that information, and then because I hope to see Patty or anyone here at the FCC meetings, I'll be going to Vegas for the first time in July.
Oh my goodness.
A family friend just got a job as the assistant U.S. attorney, as a federal position for cyber terrorism there, and he's just started his job on Sunday. So we're going to go visit him. He doesn't live on the strip, but he lives close by. And we're taking, this is really our first family vacation. My husband actually is taking time off work, and we're taking our 3-year-old who will be an AMC probably in the next 18 to 20 months, depending on the date. So I've been doing, I guess, a tour of the schools in the area, getting to know them, and really enjoyed watching the different principals give the tours, and that different dynamic of every school. Every school has a family feel to it, and they're all different. So getting to hear those steps, getting to hear that dance, I think is really, really a wonderful way to do that. So I'm looking forward. I think when I looked down the list of different things we're going to be learning about, the Roberts Rules of Order really popped out at me because one of the things in my community council is I have to enforce those rules. I have to lead a meeting. And so for me, it was like, oh, that actually is something that I can really gain from. So thank you.
And Nikki, just so you know, on our webinar series, we do have one on Robert's Rules that you could also
That's
put
tomorrow,
on.
yeah.
Oh, it's tomorrow. Great. I didn't know it was tomorrow, so that's how out of it I.
When Katie sent me that
Perfect.
agenda, I thought.
It was rescheduled, that's why.
Oh, that's why. Okay, yeah, Lon will do a great job. So wonderful.
And I'm looking forward to the one that, are you leading a webinar that you've already done?
I did one a few weeks ago,
They post the links on the AAC.
And then they're there. And the nice thing about those is you can actually put them on a podcast, and then when you're flying, just kind of stick it in your ear and listening, or when you're out on a walk or something. That's what I like about
That's a
podcasts.
good
You're
idea.
not like tied to have your computer handy. And,
Yeah, with a 3-year-old at 10
yeah. All right, newest member, one of the two newest.
Yeah, Dave Donnelly, incoming member of the school board. I haven't been to Hawaii in 20 years.
Ah.
And we haven't had a vacation in several. I'd really like to take the kids, the twins and my wife there. She hasn't been there in 30 years either. So.
There you go. Betty, can I come up to you now?
Oh, you can.
All right.
I'm not going to stand up, though.
You don't have to stand up. I told everybody they could just stay sitting.
I'm Betty Davis, and I'm a member of the Anchor School Board. And I'm here because I was invited to attend a training session that the board is having, and I'm glad to be here.
Do you have anything fun planned at all?
Well, at the time, I don't have anything planned, but I don't have a bucket list because most of the things I've had on my bucket list I've done already.
Well, that's not a bad thing to be able to say.
What I'm looking forward for next summer, I have my last grandchild will be graduating from service next year.
Awesome.
And we're going to go on a long trip together, the family.
Well, there you
So I'm
go.
looking forward to that.
Lauren?
Hi, I'm Lauren Kelsey, and I am not planning on being a board member, but I work with the Department of Public Health in school-based health programs, and we keep getting our funds cut for the trainings we can go to, and so I thought this was a great opportunity locally to find out how to work better with schools. And our family is going to head down. We have a family cabin just outside of Yellowstone, and go spend a couple weeks there this summer. My youngest is going to be starting kindergarten, so getting into that mode of the school district schedule of travel.
I'm sure that all the board members who want to improve attendance appreciate that.
I'll come back for the first day.
Christina?
I am Christina Eubanks. I have four children in the city, 3 at Woodbury and 1 at Government Hill Neighborhood School. And I'm just on the ABC for the last few years. I just wanted them to a little bit better, to advocate better for ASD.
Well, the interesting thing about that, we have done the last 2 years our charter school training for APCs and had probably 70 to 80 people.
Can you explain to people what APCs are?
Academic policy committees, and I liken them in our charter schools kind of to the same relationship of the board here and the superintendent to their APC and the principal. There's a very tight, and the principals actually are hired by the APCs and they can be let go by the board, and so they run very similarly. And
Who's on those boards?
the APCs in their charter, it's made up whoever, in their charter it will say they have 3 parents, 2 staff members, and 3 members at large. So it's what every charter is different. Good question.
Staff and parents.
Pardon me?
Staff and parents.
Yes.
And sometimes students also.
Oh yeah, some of them have students. So, yep. Maria.
Hi, I'm Maria Del Rosario. Why I'm here? Actually, a year ago I was interested in applying for a MECA or some other committee here. So, and when I saw this leadership academy, I felt like I needed a broader perspective. But I don't have plans of running for the school board. So I have 2 kids within the district. One is in high school and one is in middle school. Vacation plans right after the end of the school year. We're going to go to the East Coast.
Yay.
My name's Elise Galvin, and I am here because I care about kids, and I think that I need to learn more to better advocate for them. And I'm also hoping to meet others who care similarly and might be interested in working together to help the public better understand the good of public schools. And I am planning to travel. I will be traveling to Philadelphia in May and maybe to London in a couple weeks if I'm lucky.
Right.
I'm Matt Burkholder, product of the Anchorage School District, Wolverine, a Trojan, and an Eagle. And I've been involved with the community council since '05, first at Spenard and now at Huffman O'Malley. And there really hasn't been a training like this here in the past for this. And I thought we were talking about doing one for the assembly, or somebody had talked about doing something like that. But I think it's a good idea for the community, to people who are interested or just trying to figure out how things work, to have these type of things. So I'm glad you guys are putting this on. And also your Robert's Rules of Order thing, I thought that's nice that that's coming up. I just took one with ASEA the other day. But that's training that you don't really see out there that often. So hopefully that'll help too. But it's kind of nice to figure out how things work. And we usually go to Hawaii at Christmas because my wife works for the district.
Oh, there you go.
Teacher peers or time?
No, those are the skiers. Those are the skiing Burkholders. I won't tell you what we do. It's a lot more fun, but it's not.
Hi, Jake.
My name is James Smallwood, and one of the reasons why I decided to come here, other than being invited, is just whenever you get an opportunity to kind of learn more, especially when you're dealing with the school district, take advantage of it. This is an opportunity that I've never seen before, and just being here just for a few hours, I think there's so much information that I've learned today that I didn't know, and so I'm absolutely glad I made it out here to this academy. And guess my vacation, well, my sons, we do staycations.
Oh, that's
And
a
the reason why we do staycations is because Dad stays there, so we don't get a chance to go out. So I promised my boys that we were going to do a staycation once I was on campaign, so I think that's happening next weekend. But if I didn't do staycations, I think next year, depending on how they look, we want to do the Disney cruise. So that's why it's a need.
So my name is Dina Mitchell, and I have 3 children, one who graduated from ASD and is successfully planted in college and seems happy in sophomore year now, one who is a senior and trying to make her college decision, and then I have a sophomore in high school, all Eagles. And I am just learning so much and interested in learning more. It was great having the speed dating in my advocacy work for students of Alaska. I think public education is probably the most important thing we do in foundation of democracy, and I am just so excited to be here with other people who are passionate about public education as well. So, and in terms of vacations, we definitely, when you said you're staying here and your staycations, I was thinking in my head, because you live in Alaska. So we are excited about Salmon Fest this summer, Kayakers Cove, hiking, and going to stick around here. But if I had any place in the world to go, I have never been to Hawaii. I would love to get there on my days. So that's on my bucket list. Betty, I haven't gotten them all marked off yet.
So my name is Elisa. I'm a current board member. I do have 3 children in the district at 3 different schools. My motivation for everything that I do. And so that's the big reason why I'm here. It's just I went from loving 3 kids to 480 on an APC to now 48,000 later, so I'm long. My chance of vacation, anytime I get a 5-day window, I like to try and hop down to Maui, but the only one on the books right now is Coastal Great City Schools in July, Portland. I don't see another 5-day window for someone else.
I'm Andy Holland. I retired after 20 years with ASD last summer, and the last 4 of those I was president of the Institute Education Association. Part of that meant coming to all the board meetings and just thinking about a future life without being every school board meeting. I felt like I had to run and try to be part of it. The board does impact what happens in classrooms, and I think a great deal. I think it's really worth having a couple of classroom teachers on the board all the time. I don't know if it makes sense that the board would be completely composed of classroom teachers, although I don't think it's the worst thing to happen. But I do think this would be a topic at all times to talk about that impact. And part of being active with AA, I spent 7 weeks out of state every summer for the last 7 or 8 years, and nothing will make me leave Alaska this summer. Living overnight without leaves, just almost.
My name is Gretchen Stoddard. I have one son, a sophomore at South High. Like many, I am here for information. I have no plans to run for school board or any political items, but you never know if things aren't going in the direction, I have an idea of where I'd like things to go, and they may not go there. Our vacations are tied up with our kids' schedule. The next plan is July, my son's in competitive riflery camp, Colorado Springs. We'll combine it with looking at some colleges, and I am one of those parents that, we look at the out-of-state schedule and try and balance classwork and absences, and, this year he didn't go to Junior Olympics and he went to this for attendance reasons, so that's and we'll also stay here. But hey, I thank you very much for this.
Tamagasa Kiesler, and I'm a product of the Anchorage School District. My relationship with ASD started in 1962, and then was a teacher in the district for 22 years. I'm a parent of 3 ASD graduates and served as the School Business Partnership Director for 6 years before I ran and won the seat on the board. And this will begin my 6th year on the board. And one of the reasons that we started this academy is because we had a discussion about a year and a half ago about what was our succession plan and how are we going to help in the continuity of the work that's being done. And so we piloted a little bit. Some of you were present at an event we had in August of last year called So You Want to Be a School Board Member, and we had another session in December. And from the feedback received from people who participated in that, I pushed forward and worked with the administration to expand this greatly to a 12-month program, somewhat modeled after a program that happened in Texas that won a national Magna Award for its best practices. And so, me being somewhat of an overachiever, I took their agenda and made it even better. And the ideas that you share too will help guide this process. Because this is a first-time event, and it's meant for those who are interested in serving on the board, that at the end, if you have a graduation certificate, that's a real good housekeeping seal of approval when you're campaigning. It also behooves the district that if you came on as a board member, you are ready to roll that out of the chute. And for those who are interested in supporting and being advocates for public education, this also a benefit. So it's a win-win for everybody involved. It's already giving away my age. My girlfriends, my childhood girlfriends who went through the ASD with me, we started for milestone birthdays. Every 10 years we do something extraordinary. 10 years ago we rented a 5-star villa on the Amalfi Coast of Italy. This year we're going on a cruise down the Danube.
Wow.
It's big because we're getting older. And as one of my older mentors said, you can spend your money or you can give it to your children.
There you go.
My name is Star Marset, and I'm a school board member. In fact, I just finished my first year. And everything these guys told me when I was running for office and before is true. It's different when you're on the board than when you're not. And there is a lot to learn. Don't think you know it all just because you were on committees. But the reason I did this, probably I've been advocating for children my whole life. I mean, I've got a letter from Coghill from his father way back when from Eielson. I've testified at I don't know how many PTA meetings and school board meetings and that sort of thing. But we adopted our special needs son, as most of you know, and I started substitute teaching. And I was in the classrooms and thinking, this isn't the way it should be. And I just saw more and more kids being kind of left behind or left alone or whatever. And I said, nope, we've got to change things. And so that's when I just became more involved, and then finally said, the next step is the school board. And so it took me 3 times, but I never gave up. And so the vacation I'm getting, I think, is probably the best vacation in the world. My husband and my son, my older son who lives with us, and his son who lives with us part-time because he goes to his mom, are all going on a trip for 2 weeks by themselves. And then my other son, who's 18, is going on a trip the same day with his mother and stepfather, and I have the house to myself for 2 weeks.
Woo!
It's vacation.
I'm Dina Bishop, and I'm about to finish my first year. I think it was right around this time that I was hired, the time that the board reorganized last year. So I'm just excited to be part of Anchorage. I had a cruise planned to Croatia this summer, but it has been postponed, so I will just look forward to that as being my next vacation. And that's about it. My background is, this is my 26th year. My 6th year as superintendent. I did 5 years as superintendent in Matsu, 5 years of assistant superintendent prior to that. I've been a principal, an assistant principal, a teacher, both at middle school and elementary school in 2 different districts. So all my career has been in Alaska after graduating outside. Moved here, and it's been wonderful. It really is a great job, and for the same very reason it is, Dina, I do believe that public education is a cornerstone, one of the cornerstones of our democracy, and it's highly important. And I believe in it and advocate for kids and the kinds of experiences that we want for them in our system to be ready for their future, which looks different than ours. And every day it looks different, so we're just working towards creating the best outcomes for kids.
Thank you. And the most important person in the room, Katie.
Katie. I'm Katie Graham, school board secretary, and I think I've been the school board secretary for, well, this year was, together, so about 6 years. And I do enjoy the work. It's fun, it's exciting, and keep you on your toes. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
She's magic. I say, Katie, I need to find clicks. She finds them, and they call me. So
I graduated from the English school district, and my kids all went through the English school district, although we were T-birds. Well, I was an eagle, and my kids were birds. And we have a wedding in Illinois to go to this summer.
nice. Well, great. Well, thank you. I always feel it's really important to kind of ground us and let us know who's in the room, because I'm going to have you team up and do some activities in a little bit, and I don't want you to just like, hi, sit down. So can you show me by your hand raise how many of you took that class in high school or in college on how to be a good board member? Right? It's not a taught thing. We don't know that. It's not, when I first started in this job, my boss said, I was working in the organization but not doing board training, and I said, I really don't know a lot about boards. He said, yeah, but you're a teacher. You know how to train people. You'll learn about boards. Well, that was 13 years ago now. And now I feel like, wow, I really do, and it has been a process. And it took me a year or two, as my kids, he told me, just speak it till you make it at first. But I read as much as I could, and I read articles, and I tried to read best practices. And there are a lot of things that help us learn what our role is and what it's not. And sometimes that's the tricky part, because oftentimes we get on boards because we have a passion, or we might have an issue, or we might want something in particular. And suddenly we learn that, oh, I am just one voice in this district on a board out of 7. And so my little one voice, as much as I can have, we want you to have your own opinion at the board table. We want you to talk about it at the board table. But once the vote is taken and you walk out that door, if you were the one, if it was a 6-1 vote, guess what? You need to now support whatever the vote was. And sometimes that's hard, because you really had convictions the other way. And it's one of those little things that you just get better at, and you can, as you get more comfortable, you say, you know what, I still feel, I know the vote's up, and I'm going to have a no vote, and this is why, but I will support whatever happens in the, at the board table. And that's part of that, being a team. And I would hate to ever see a board say, we are a 7-0 at every vote. Well, that's not really healthy either, because that's not necessarily bringing in different points of view. One other thing I hear often is, well, I'm listening to my constituents. So can I just see a show of hands of those of you that were elected in here? How many of you got 100% of your votes? Right? So you have to remember that some of your constituents maybe didn't vote for you, but they are still your people, and we still need to listen. And I think that that's another piece that sometimes is just important to think about. So the first activity we're going to do, I'm going to break you in teams of 2 or 3. And so I was busy up here mixing you up a little bit, so I already did this. So I'm going to put Tam and Maria as a team. So I tried to put board members with different people. Star and James and Katie as a team. So Star, James, Katie. Elise, Matt, and Nikki. So you guys will be a team. Betty and Christina. You guys don't even have to move tables. Dave and Lauren. New board member Dave behind you. Andy, Elise, and Gretchen are a team. And then Kathleen and Dina. Did I get everybody? Well, that's a miracle in itself. Okay. So why don't you join your teams? And then I will tell you what we're going to do.
It's a pretty sweet deal. I'm on her team.
Oh.
It's okay. You can be at more than one other. Okay.
Are you grabbing?
Did you say get
This is the book we're going to work through, and I'll tell you what we're going to do in a minute. One for each of you. One for each of you. 1, 2, 3. Gretchen, you go ahead and go on.
Need one more.
Yes.
So I was like, oh.
I put my plate in there.
All right. So before you dig into the book, I'll tell you a little history on this. This was a little booklet that I saw the need to put together a few years ago. I talked to all my colleagues in other states, and we compiled and put together this booklet. And it focuses on 11 areas that boards really have a role in working in the district. And so what I want you to think about right now, as you read through it, you and your partner read through it, and I want you to highlight things that you think, and I'm only going to assign you each 1 or 2 pages, so let me get to that in a minute. But you're going to, when your team stands up, you're either going to act out a little act or just tell the group, what are the key things from your page or pages that you would want a new board member to know in their first month on the board? So highlight. So you'll notice in the book, the top of every page is the board's role. So the board's role in curriculum, the board's role in finances, the board's role in student. And then on the bottom half of each page is the administrative role. And so what I'm going to do, Tam and Maria, I have you guys looking at page 1 and page 11. You're the most diverse in the group. Everybody else has back-to-back pages if they have them. Stars team, you're only looking at page 2, the expectations page. Matt, Nikki, Elise, you guys have pages 3 and 4, money and policy. So again, what is it that new members should know? Christina and Betty, you guys just have page 5, curriculum. Dave and Lauren, just page 6, personnel. Andy, your team has page 7 and 8, collective bargaining and students. And then Kathleen and Dina, you guys have 9 and 10. So if you forget what pages you have, look up here. I'm going to give you time, so you might want to look at it on your own. And then in your group, have a little discussion. We've done this where I've had people do total stints, and it's hilarious to see them do it wrong. But what I really want is I want us to think about what is best and what should we know about. And if you were the one teaching a brand new board member, what would you highlight from your page or pages of the book?
So from the board responsibility.
From the board, but I think you need to highlight some of the superintendents too. You know,
So
this is their role, this is our role. Okay. So what are the key things you want a new member to know?
And what's our time frame?
I'm going to give you about 15 minutes at your tables. You guys just have one page, yeah? Or one page? You guys have, which page are you? 2. Page 2, that's just this whole page. No, you can pick as many as you want from each. You can pick as many as you want from each category. Oh, I must have, sorry. I had 17, I don't know where it went. Let me see if I can find something.
Do you want them in order?
No, I just want you to get up as a group and share. If you want, you can do whatever you want.
We'll do a PowerPoint presentation.
No.
Just give us 5 hours.
We will add bullets.
And put us to sleep, right?
Yeah.
No, we'll just hold it for page, be like, and.
Yes.
For like every page, no, I'm going to and 2 minutes, like. So that's to show that they're really doing, right? Establish your.
So because certain staff have to comply with rule book. So that's where you, certified staff members
They go out to hire new teachers, all these come to the board for the superintendent staff, but that's all, just to say. No, where you are the supervisor. Be helping out, change that word. Thank you. But that's what it means, I'm sorry. Approves the contract of. There you go. See, I can always improve it. I'm going to make myself a note right now. Lauren, that's what it's not. Yeah. I'm going to have it. I think that's so understood. We have the superintendent and give her power. Of course, we need this for the crowd. Yeah, so very hires and powers of educational leaders. You see the educational leaders. We're going to give her so five retired professional
Probably dinner another side or session. It seems like there's other things.
But the expectation is there that they are the leaders and they're professional and what they set the leadership purposes. Okay. Does that help you?
As opposed to a tie. So either a tie.
Also, there is a
Material education course, I kind of, like, I had that should become a business person. I was like, you could have two circles, so you can board up here. And then the speaker. But it was all, and it seems to be really more data. And so when he said, we have to establish an educational policy. Yeah, so it's established a job of this is the new board job to change the standard. So it's like, so I'm when they do like change, like they look, everything's being like, they decide and as you know, they implement, which implementation comes like down here, like the superintendent. So and they implement. Then there's the assessment. And then decide, like it keeps going up. And so, actually, I guess the superintendent seems to do a lot of like the recommendations, and she, yeah. So the superintendent sends the recommendations, and then kind of goes up here to the same thing up here on this one. So that you guys evaluate them, all that information, and then decide, and then send it down for adopt. So you requirements.
Yeah, and I'm going to picture will say, so you don't have like a lab.
Evaluate because it doesn't establish the philosophy. So when you evaluate the recommendations, you compare that to the philosophy that's already been adopted, right? You review, evaluate this material, do number 7 here, periodically request and do you ask them what to do? Number 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then adopt.
If I can get my knees across the two, especially if you've all been in there. 6. One, two, three, 5 is report, that would be the size, kind of up there. And then 7 is periodically past report. So I guess I was still doing from a professional staff programs, that's evaluation. And then 8 is adopted, instructional terms, and 9 is school gifts, climate data, board, it's like the parliament. The superintendent, the one who advises the board to make the recommendation.
Hey, about 5 minutes before we report out.
The staff report to help effective implementation, brings reports to the community of the status. It's also like the recommendation report, basically telling us we don't show staff from free. 4 recommends assessments to the board, that's the board. 5 recommends approval. 6 assigns staff that would be compared. 7 is regular scheduled presentations, reports by staff on various segments. Recommendation to board. 8 is recommends policy. And then 9 reports instructional material. There's a lot of recommendations, but I think there's all that information, assessments, and evaluation. So she mentioned that's just how I read it. I've got to
well, that's actually work.
So Christina, were you at one of the trainings for the charter schools?
I've read your book and have like handed that pamphlet out before anybody interested. You weren't able to. I was not able to.
I didn't take your face because usually I'm like, I would have thought.
But I have gone over and we've talked. So I'm excited actually.
Good.
See the creator of such a thing. Made it very clear.
We're working hard to help you guys.
Oh, it's the liaison. Yeah. I should say. Exactly. That was the yes. I mean, I think that's going to be, board charters to govern. I'm an executive director. The prerogative is to manage. And sometimes I want to govern myself. That's not my job. And sometimes they want to manage, and that's not their job. So having, I was thinking of taking this business, but I wondered.
Do you want a piece of paper? Yes, you can have a piece of paper.
Or not, if it's
no, I just should have not stacked on there to start with. Come here, you can get it. This is usually I have a lot more than 2 hours, so I'm not used to these shorter meetings. Oh, sorry. No. Here. All right, there you go. Take a piece, and there's a red marker. Yep, right there.
What was my name? Title?
What was your title? What section were you in?
Oh, no, it was right in the hand. It was right in the hand.
You're so cute. Well, and you guys you went through some, you have a principal this year, right?
And he didn't make it, and so we have a new one next year. Who was it last year? Who was it? Lee Young. He was retired from, now he's hired someone at Harvard.
Well, we're thinking of doing, really? Good.
Yeah.
We're thinking of doing the training in October this year.
Yeah.
So that it's early on the year.
Yeah, I really started pushing that they did a template thing that I got put on
and really becoming adamant with.
Well, one of the other things, and I can talk to you about this later, I want you to be done. But one of the things that we're noticing is that there's a huge conflict of interest with APC members evaluating the principal when they're a teacher. And so I think that that's a conflict of interest and they need to step up.
Like we're a single grade school, so we have issues with our, and it was everybody's friend, and suddenly you're sitting there and it becomes personal, and it becomes nasty,
I know,
and,
yep.
But I don't think people have any idea what it entails to be a supervisor. They think like, oh, I'm just going to come up, and so they want to manage because they come in with their issue.
I'm glad that book's helpful.
Or they don't want to step up and do what's hard.
And the other thing we could do is just an evening or weekend workshop just with your board too.
Well, I'm off the board now.
Oh, you're off it now?
Yeah, I have.
3 months later. Isn't it top tier for things? Okay, go.
All right, 2 more minutes, and then we're going to report out. Your whatever creative way you decided to report out.
So why don't you present I'll say the picture they brought, and then you tell them why we brought the picture. So the keywords, so I don't have to not until after you have.
I'm a visual, so that's where I.
Once you draw pictures, and we'll say.
Well, I guess maybe it decides the top requirements for the same thing. Oh gosh.
And I'll say I want you to draw a rule book. I mean, I'll say the reason why.
These are for later. Turn them upside down here. No, that's for later. I just am being efficient. Okay, I'm judging my timing on you, so you're the one that we're waiting for.
Oh, sorry.
I'm totally kidding. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Ready?
Yep.
All right. All right. Okay, so we're gonna. Oh, you can take this. Let's follow along and let's just go page by page. So I will ask Tam and Maria to start us off and end us because you're number 1 and 11. But if everyone wants to follow along in their book, seriously, I'm going to turn the floor over to you two.
Okay, we're going to tag team this.
All right.
This is a participatory thing, so get your pad of paper ready.
Get your pad of paper ready. Okay.
What was it, a test? No, it's not a test. You're going to draw. You're going to use a different intelligence right now. And guess what? It doesn't matter if you can't draw. If you can see my chicken scrawls on here, it doesn't matter. As long as your drawing has meaning to you. None of these drawings will be published on Facebook. You have permission to draw better than me. That's just about everybody can do that. So I'm going to tell you what to draw, and then Maria's going to explain to you why you're drawing what you're drawing. So you're going to draw 2 hands clasping. There's no such thing as I can't. Even if your dominant hand were broken, you could still draw with your non-dominant hand.
Everybody good?
Yeah. Okay.
So the reason those hands are asked to be drawn is because the board serves as a liaison between the school and community.
Thank you. Number 2 drawing, you're going to draw a rule book. It can be as thin or thick as you want. A book that's of rules, a book. It says rule book on the front. For those with oppositional disorder, you might have a thinner book.
So that is, the rule book represents to establish rules to govern the schools and students. That's the next function.
Okay? Third, you're going to draw a crown, a queen's crown.
So that one, the crown means the board recruits and hires the superintendent, and because it's a queen's crown, it's just.
We'll let her know you called her queen, okay?
Number 4 is okay, and then another one is because the queen will have those powers and duties that may duties it may legally delegate in accordance with board policy. And number 5.
It's also the same crown.
Is with the same crown, hires and empowers the superintendent.
I'm sorry, it's not. It's number 5. I'm sorry, so sorry.
Okay.
You need to draw now one of those long pointer sticks that they used in schools when they were pointing, and some of them still have pointer sticks. Not for disciplinary measures, but for pointing things out.
You mean instead of the red laser pointer?
If you are in the 21st century, it might be a red laser pointer.
So number 5 is the board empowers the superintendent to be the educational leader of the district.
Now you're going to draw either a high heel or a tie. Your choice.
So that one requires professional leadership from the superintendent.
For 7, you're going to write 3 acronyms. This is easy, and you get to put any type of shape around them that you wish. You're going to write AASB, NSBA, and CGCS. And you can either put circles, stars, boxes, hexagon. CGCS. AASB, NSBA, CGCS. Put any type of shape around them that you want.
Circle, star, cloud, moon.
So those represent the conferences, the workshops and trainings.
Okay? And then the last one, you're going to draw a laptop that's open on the screen. There's a whole ton of data. So a lot of scribbles across the top. And maybe some visuals.
And that represents the long-range plan for student achievement.
So you just draw a picture of the dashboard. We're done. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for that great, because we all know we learn when we're being kinesthetic, and most of us pick up a little bit more that way. So page 2, and I think that was Star's group, around expectations.
Well, our expectations, if it was anything like that, then...
It's okay, James. I'm not grading you. I'm not grading you. I just want us to have some conversation.
Some of us are teachers and some of us aren't.
That's all right. So what did you learn from reading your page and discussing it?
I can say from my personal standpoint that some of the information that we came out with, we all agree that number 3 is probably one of the most important part of it.
Number 3 on the top or bottom?
On the top.
And what's it say?
Provides the superintendent with written goals and expectation of performance upon which he will be evaluated.
Probably one of the most important things of a board to do. If your superintendent doesn't know what you are expecting of them, and I'm talking to the board as a whole, if you do not have goals that you want them to accomplish, they're just going to do what they think is best, and then how do you even begin to evaluate them? So that evaluation and setting goals is critical. So thanks for pulling that one up. Ladies, what else did we have, Star or Katie?
The other one we had was, I guess on the top still, demonstrates trust and respect for the superintendent, demonstrates trust and respect for the professional judgment of the superintendent. And it kind of goes with 7, with respect for the superintendent and his or her right to have opinions that may differ from theirs.
Yeah.
Because they are the experts, and we need to be able to discuss differences in a professional and come to a conclusion of whatever's best for the kids.
So stop a second, Dave and Andy, I forgot my magic wand tonight, but I'm gonna do it right now, because I've waved my magic wand, you will trust the superintendent. We know that's not how that happens, right? It's something we have to work on, and we have to believe that they're giving us good information and we're asking for the right information. That takes time. It doesn't just happen. And so, just like if you have a husband, a wife, a spouse, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever you have, it takes a while to build that trust. It doesn't just happen because you say it should happen.
You're not supposed to trust my husband after 40 years.
Well, but it took time. If you back up 40 years, Star, it takes a little time to get there. So,
And in terms of empowerment, because as the board, they are all empowering her to make those decisions and have that support from the school board, so that when you're going out and representing your family or your husband or whomever, people don't question, well, how did you get this? How did you come up with this?
right. Anything else from page 2 there under those expectations?
What about on the bottom, Katie?
Yeah, like 6 and 7, the superintendent is responsible for the overall operation of the school, supervision of the instructional program, and management of all personnel, and works together with the board for the good of the district and student achievement. But also, we talked a lot about number 4, because it's so important to have written expectations and goals and how you're going to get there.
Yeah. Well, I think you'd have to be really checked out to not know that in this district we have 2020. We know there are some expectations there. I went into one of the schools today. I had a meeting out in, is it Birchwood out in Chugach? Birchwood ABC. I walked in and there it is, right on her wall, right above the principal's desk. So it's in the schools. We know that it's there, and we know that that's what everyone is working towards. So I think most people in this community and even in other parts of the state know that. All right. So let's look at page 3 and 4. Elise, Matt, and Nikki, what did you guys want to tell us? First about policy.
Okay, so Elise is going to do our policy first.
The policy one, I'm enjoying reading all of these because there's a lot of corresponding ones. The one that is probably the most intriguing to me for the board is number 1, and for the superintendent, its counterpart is number 4. That the board adopts policies for the governance and management of the school district, and the superintendent on number 4 implements district policies and assures that the staff, students, and community are aware of the intent and importance of those policies. We are the board. We help adopt the policies for the governance, but we're not 7 little walking around superintendents that then go do it. And sometimes that line can get muddy, depending on the passion of a board member. And so it's knowing that role, that we have one level, she has the other level, and there's a clear line in there.
So on average, we get 65 to 75 phone calls a month in our office from school boards across the state. Some districts cost a little more than others. But I would bet more than half of those my first statement of my mouth is, what does your policy say? What does your policy say? So I'll go online, I find it, I pull it up, and we talk through that. So half the questions I get asked in my office could be answered just by looking at policy. But I know that board members like to run it past someone else and talk about it and vent. So we just had one today. I was CC'd on the response. How do we put something about the board wants to go to executive session to talk about a staff member. That was, I know and it's a long situation. So we say, well, what does your policy say? And then we say, well, you can go into executive session, however, you need to let that staff member know because they could choose to not have it in executive session or choose to be there. So, those are the kind of things we get, and sometimes they're real little, and if you ever want to laugh at some of the questions we get asked, we have on our website, on the bottom corner now, there's a big ask a question to Timmy or Lon, and we try to list some frequently asked questions there if you want to check those out anytime. So I agree 100%, those policies are key. Anything else on policies? That's probably it.
I think one of the ones we want to point out also is number 3 on the board. At least brought up that hasn't happened.
Can you read it out loud, Nikki?
Reviews administrative procedures, rules, and regulations which they implement, or which implement the board's policies. So that doesn't actually.
So I think, from what I understand, am I correct that Anchorage School District is going to be transitioning to the what 52 other school districts in the state use as far as policies? Okay. So when in our world, BPs are the board policies. BBs are the board bylaws, and ARs are administrative regulations. And the board does not have to approve administrative regulations, but it's healthy to look at them occasionally, understand what they're saying. It's the way the administration filters and does a policy that's set there to do. So for example, it could be that there's a policy around student activities, and I'm just pulling this out. And the AR then may go into detail exactly how the administration delegates that to somebody and it happens and the handbooks are reviewed or whatever it might be at this level. So the policy says that we're going to have handbooks. We recommend the board look at them, but I'm sure that the AR would probably say something to the effect of that all principals are responsible for the development of their building, blah, 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 blah. And so it's I've been in districts, the unfortunate thing is sometimes when there are 3 different ARs, depending on what old workbook, because when we used to just have them paper copied, it might have missed getting updated in one manual. So that's also the beauty of online now. Once it's updated, it's updated. And the other great thing, just so those of you in the room that work with policy to know about, as we transition in, when we get the new policies because of laws, and we hire the lawyers and they make suggestions, those will automatically go into your online ones with draft behind it. So you will always know or that, this is one or you'll know that, oops, we've never adopted this one because it still says draft behind it. So those are some good things to know about with our policy as well. So the policies are so important, and you don't realize how important they are until it's too late. And all I ever say is, who knows when I say bong hits for Jesus, what that is. Okay? So, bong hits for Jesus, the reason Juneau School District won that court hearing at the Supreme Court was because they followed their policy to a T. If you don't know what it is, it's an interesting thing, so just go look. All you have to type in. It's a court case. Olympic torch is running by Juneau Douglas High School, and some kid standing across the street with a big banner. Who knows what it means? But it was
That's the point, though.
Right. Right. And so the principal did exactly what the policy said she was supposed to do. And so when it went higher, the next person did exactly what the policy said. And in the end, Juneau School District, was not held responsible. I mean, they did everything well. So, yep. So that's that was kind of the turning, not that I didn't appreciate policy before, but that's the one that well, because we had, my former boss was he was the policy geek. He prided himself on that, right, Kathleen?
Yes,
he would take his pants and he'd pull them way up and he's like, I'm the policy guy. No, so he's retired now, so somebody else has to pick up on it. But all right, what about page 4.
So we had a little, I guess, visual demonstration.
Woo! A visual.
Our superintendent is going to receive our budget, I guess, top, what do they call them?
Priorities.
Priorities, thank you. So we've come up with the priorities as the board, and the board is going to dictate policy, and all of this is what we want. You have the budget.
Make the budget. I thought there was a leak for a minute.
Make the budget. And he hands it back and says, here we go. So we all have the budget.
With our
and everyone
priorities.
gets all the candy, just in the way it's organized and tested up.
So the non-
During that, maybe we'll be doing that.
Because you gotta make some decisions, right? Some of them come back and forth. So how much of, I'm gonna ask the non-elected board members here, how much of the school district's budget is actually flexible and you can do something with? That's not already put into salaries and insurance and M&O, taking care of the buildings. How much?
Small. 1%.
Smaller.
2%.
Anyway, it's a little more than that typically. How much?
5%.
What is it this year? Usually it's somewhere between 10 and 12.
So not much of that is.
So I don't know English, that's.
Well, just salary and benefits is about 90%.
Okay, so you're at 10% then. Yeah.
And then you have.
Then you have all the other. So, yep, so those are the.
We're not going to have any lights, right, utilities?
Well, and the interesting thing is that I don't think our general public understands that. That's my point. They think, that, and I know, because boards struggle with this so intensely all the time. How do I get there? Oh, I don't want to lose nurses. Oh, I don't want to lose sports. I mean, the Juneau School District, and that's where I live, that's why I refer to Juneau, I read the paper there every day. But the superintendent there said, we may not have sports next year. And what happened? Well, do you want classroom teachers or do you want sport? If we really truly get a 5% cut, what's going to happen? So those are the kind of things we worry about. But I think it's up to us and board members in particular to help educate the community that really we don't have a lot of wiggle room in our budget. So much of it is right there in salary and benefits. Anything? Oh, that was a great visual. Thank you.
Had candy.
All right, so page 5, curriculum, Betty and Christina.
Sorry, ours is not near as exciting. Go ahead, just a second. Small change. So curriculum, and thank you. Instructional. Materials, sorry for your feedback. So we kind of had it as like a figure 8 with circles. And so the board's role is to decide and adopt requirements, which were number 1, 2, 5, 6, and 8 for efficiency. And then that sends it down to the superintendent, whose job is to implement it, which was 2 and 6 below. There's a lot of data talk going on, so obviously there's some assessment. And then from that, 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 was recommendations given back up to the board, who would evaluate that compared to 3, 4, 7, and 9. Got a little confused on 1 because it was about educational philosophy, but so kind of, I used to evaluate, but it was, and then it. That's great. So data.
Christina, can you put that up here next to the board so we can look at it? Good job, Betty and Christina. All right. David Lauren, page 6, personnel.
Yeah, we were actually surprised under the board, number 1, individual teacher hire. So we think that's important that people would know. But the most important elements that we felt were under the board, elements 7 and 8, and they correspond to 8 under the superintendent, which is 7 and 8 is adopts policy on the evaluation of personnel, and 8 is approved staff evaluation procedures. And then that the superintendent would follow through and develop with the board and staff a systematic plan for evaluating the performance of our district staff. We just feel that that's really key to the success of the district, and having that procedure be open and completely available to employees so they understand how they're being evaluated and what their goals are to achieve.
Absolutely. And can you walk in and say, I'm going to see my fourth grade teacher's, my son's fourth grade teacher's evaluation?
I want to, but I cannot. But I cannot.
Can you ask if it's been done?
I can ask if it's been, well.
As a board member or as a citizen?
As a board member. Usually the way that's done, I know, I caught you. Usually it's just that 80% of our teachers have been evaluated, it would be a report at some point, 80% of our principals, and by the end of next month, we should be at 100%, that kind of thing, so that you know that it's being done. That's the key. That's what board members need to ask. Have we done the evaluations? Yep.
Okay, but I can't go and ask specifically for one teacher, though. I can ask on a broader
Yes.
20,000 foot. Okay.
Yes.
That's what tripped me up. Was like, make it look like I was going after one.
No.
I didn't
Well, that's what I
didn't
was
want to do
thinking.
that.
But it sometimes people want to see evaluations. And
They're
that's,
always private then?
Yep. Yep. So that's a good question.
So what is the evaluation used for in terms of?
Well, which do you use Donaldson's here? Do you know what you're using for teacher eval? I don't know that.
Danielson.
Danielson? Okay, that's what I know. So there's a model. I'm sorry.
It's closer.
It started with a D. I'm just kidding. But Danielson, so it's a model, and there's benchmarks that teachers are supposed to meet, and they're evaluated by their principal on that. And it's a pretty. That's something you could look at. You could look at the tool and see that. That's open to anybody.
What can they use them? It's just private between the principal and the teacher themselves?
Yes, or the principal and then it's put in their files. It is in their HR files. Yes.
And principals are also evaluated.
And they're evaluated, yeah.
And everybody in the district has an evaluation.
Okay, but they're private and they're not.
Right, no one's is.
Getting a pay raise or.
Well, on a
They have a
upper cabinet
scale.
level, it potentially can because they don't have a separate bargaining group there.
Yeah, it all depends on if there's, yeah. So that's a great question.
And
Board
there's one more piece.
evaluation would be the
The
beginning.
board is evaluated too through self-evaluation, and then every 3 years through elections.
That'll work.
But Tam, there's also, I've come in and done a self-evaluation with this board as
That's
a
what I
team
said.
before. Yeah, not just at election day.
No, I said, you missed that,
Oh.
we do self-evaluation.
Okay,
I
yeah.
just highlighted the second part of that.
Oh, I'm sorry, because all I heard when I turned around was
Part of our
every 3
retreat.
years. So there's 2 wings, yeah. So, all right.
Failure to get a good evaluation starts the removal process, either professional development.
So there's a ramification here.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
You could put in a plan of improvement, and then if things don't improve, you couldn't.
I like how the superintendent one was worded though, of that they know what's expected and have like goals, so the staff isn't just like being evaluated for something that's.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Andy, Lisa, and Gretchen, how about pages 7 and 8? Collective bargaining and students. Both kind of shorter pages, but what did you glean from that? Nothing. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Andy can't wait.
We're having a break.
We are.
Well, and it's interesting because every district does the bargaining slightly differently, but I know I've had your person actually come and speak to my board members on bargaining, so.
I think the highlights that we want to make were that the board sets policies, and then they have a bargaining team that actually works out the details and language with the bargaining team from the other bargaining unit, of the bargaining unit, that represents different groups of employees. That's on the collective bargaining part. And the other part, a lot of this is governed by state and federal law. But if the bargaining team brings back to the school board a tentative agreement that fits within their original guidelines, the expectation is they will approve that.
They're the ones that set the parameters. That's the board's role. Anything else? The superintendent is, you mean what is their role or how does their salary? Role. Well, they usually are an advisor. Some districts, I know it's not here, but some districts, the superintendent ends up being the spokesperson. Some districts only use a lawyer, some, it's, for 53 districts, there's probably 40 ways they do it, so.
If the superintendent is the spokesperson for the team, they fall under law on what they can say and can't say. It becomes very restrictive. And so normally you would want people in your leadership positions to not be constrained. Just in the way of the argument.
As the establishing guidelines and criteria, is that done in executive session on this?
I would say absolutely, yeah, because it's there are a few things you can go in for, and one of them is monetary things that affect the district.
Negotiations.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, how about page 8?
So I think that this model works really well. It's right here, except that I would put different words in here. So the board adopts policies related to safety and health and caring for all students with everything it does, particularly spec ed, and then it also develops a policy manual, a student handbook. And the superintendent implements, gives ideas for what else should be part of the policy, and the superintendent also so directs every activity related to students. Where there's kind of, it gets a little sticky is another piece of this is when there's an appeal, because for whatever reason, and Andy made a good point that if this happens often, there's probably a systemic problem that needs to get worked out. And an example that Gretchen gave is, let's say a student, it's written in the handbook somewhere that students may never, ever, ever in their life touch their cell phones, and her child uses it at lunchtime to quickly text his parent, and the principal says, well, it says right here, you're now suspended or whatever. And so in this case, let's say it didn't. I'm making up that particular.
There was a similar thing. Someone used it. Wow. Parent expectations is
Anyhow, so there is a part, and it was unclear to Andy and all of us as to how far or how much. But basically, what happens is the board would kind of rehear a case when the implementation of policy is questioned.
And that's a great point to bring up. So the board can be a quasi-judicial body. So you may have to, as a board, be the jury for a hearing. So if something keeps going up and up and up and it can't be resolved at the lowest level, it could come in front of the board. So there are times when the superintendent can't give you too much information because you don't necessarily want to, I mean, you might want to know, but you shouldn't know some facts until it comes in front of you as in case you are the jury.
Well, this is what I don't know about in Anchorage. When you review these decisions, are you reviewing the process that your administrators went through, or are you actually rehearing the case to decide if they made the right decision?
I'm referring to Kathleen because I've never done one.
Didn't you guys just do it?
I'm probably the only one that's done it, and it was confidential. The whole thing is confidential, but you have both sides. You have the administration come in and give all the facts, and
so you
I would say it would start from the beginning and review everything.
Yeah, you review everything. You're given everything, and then you give it all back. It's not something you can.
One thing we do in executive session is we review the administrative decisions to expel or reinstate a student.
Those are uncontested.
Uncontested ones. So we review that, but we vote on it in the meeting.
Let's say you're not actually looking at whether or not your administrators follow the process. You're actually deciding whether or not you agree with it.
So sometimes,
but it's not happened. Hasn't happened.
As you say, it's not a very common. Doesn't happen very often, but it is a good thing for a board member to say, you know what, I can't know what's going on because this possibly could come in front of us as a hearing.
And that would be for disciplinary issues, so that there's health and safety and other things related to that particular piece of it, but that's not.
but we have asked for more information on expulsions when we had questions about it.
But they were uncontested.
Right, uncontested.
So
That's the
the
key.
only time
Uncontested.
that we saw the one that was contested was, we didn't see it until.
Right, at the time.
Until the time.
And
So
once a
different.
year, we have a review with our lawyers about all of the in-process litigation.
All right, great questions. Thank you. And I think this makes me laugh because if you go on and look at the webinar that I did a few weeks ago on the board superintendent relations, you'll see that there's a diagram very similar to this, where all things, the board are based around the goals and the budget, and there's kind of this, the board does something, or the board decides something, they adopt it, they send it to the administration. So this is something I've seen a lot. And then eventually it's evaluated and brought back. So this is a very common cycle. So you are very intuitive to pick that up. Look at hers. All right, so page 9 and 10, Kathleen and Dina.
Okay, so we'll start with page 9 for facilities. And all of them are important, but our highlights for the board was number 1 and number 2. Basically adopting and establishing the policies. At some point with what Dean and the legislature is doing, number 5, the consolidation may be something we have to consider, but that's all under the purview of the board having to vote on that particular piece. Number 7 and then 8 in the superintendent, that's more the rural district one, so that doesn't really apply to Anchorage.
Okay, sorry.
Well, that's okay. It's a document that's used for all, so I sense it's.
But that's
for
good for
everyone.
people to know, because in a lot of rural communities, there's just some differences in REAs than there are in a big city.
So, and then for the superintendent on facilities, we highlighted number 3 and number 5. That basically, the superintendent is the one that's going to assign and supervise the staff. That's really her position. And then she's going to collect the information, make the appropriate recommendations that are necessary for the board to make a decision. And then on meetings, 10 and this is communication. That was really the big word that we took away that's kind of all over on that. So maybe I need a mouth here, Tam. We're not, 2 mouths. We're not, and ears. Yeah. So, but we're not that creative. So we highlighted on the board number 3, number 4, and number 6, which is also, policy, a clear protocol of what we need to do for inclusion of items, and this is one that Dina and Town and now Star will kind of work on as well, and then identify work that we need to do with the superintendent in terms of information. And then for the superintendent, we highlighted 2 and 4, but all of them are pretty important as long as you're remembering communication.
Right. And the one communication that I remind boards and administration at this time is, to remember no surprises is our best way to do anything. So the board, if you have a question about something that your superintendent has sent out in your packet, call her and ask her about it, or send her an email. That allows her to gather that information, send it out to every board member saying, oh, you know what, Tam brought this up and I hadn't thought about this, or at least be ready at the meeting. And I would recommend then, at the meeting, you ask it out loud again. Because that way it shows that you were doing your due diligence, you ask a question, she knows the answer because she's already provided to you, but you don't want to just come to the meeting and throw something on her and surprise her. Just like you would want the respect that if something's going down in the district, that she's trying her best to get to you and let you know what's going on. And if you respond best to text, and you respond best to a phone call, and you respond best to an email, she's going to try, or Katie's going to try, to get a hold of you so that you know this thing is going on, so that you're not stopped in the AC, boy, am I used to rural Alaska, what? But you're not stopped in the post office and, hey, I heard da-da-da-da-da-da-da. you know, and you don't want to be the one that's like, oh, I didn't know, and especially if it's a big thing that day. You want to know, you want to be kept.
Bottom line is, the rule is no surprises.
No surprises.
Either for the board or for the superintendent.
Yeah, and this is just a good place to toss that in. All right, for the last page, Kathleen, or I'm sorry, Tam and
I'm just going to
Maria
preface
again.
this and then Maria's going to do the rest. Rather than go through these, we gave you finite examples
Oh, okay.
from this district.
Oh, that's what this is.
So it's about community engagement and relations. So reminds me of social media. So first is board attends and visits the community council, schools, and advisory boards. And it answers to emails and media interview requests. And it reads community surveys, the climate and connectedness surveys. And then as far as the superintendent goes with staff, it communicates by all sorts of social media, like web page, through the web page, Facebook, through the feed, through the emails and the e-newsletters, the forums and group presentations.
So there's lots of different ways to communicate with the public and the community, and the more ways we can figure out, the better it's going to be. The more we can keep them informed, the better we're going to look and our work is going to be highlighted. So thank you for sharing that out. With that, you know, I joke, but I kind of am serious that this, especially for my board members, you know, don't just tuck it away and never look at it again. This is something you could put in your manual, you could put in your bathroom, you could put in your car when you're waiting for your kids to pick it up. You could put it in a lot of different places that it'll be handy for you. And it's just a good reminder of what's best practice around a lot of different areas. In general, it's that the board sets the direction, adopts the policies, gives the goals, the administration does it, the evaluations come back, and it's just this cycle of communication and rotation there. So now, on the tables are little sheets, and everybody should have 2 or 3. We're going to do a fun little activity now. On your own, I want you to read the scenario. And let me tell you, the scenarios all came from superintendents in this state. So these were gathered by me. You get 2 or 3. So superintendents in the state, I had them at their conference, and I said, I want you to write down some things that you get so frustrated with your board for doing. And so I got about 80 3x5 cards. So I would turn some into positives. But I want you to read through yours, and on your own, is it good oversight? Is it overstepping? Are you micromanaging or doing something you shouldn't? Is it really just no big deal at all? Or is it not a good idea? So you have 4 choices: oversight, overstep, no big deal, or just not a good idea. So read yours, and then in your threesomes or pairs, just share your little scenario and what you think, and have that just dialogue with the 2 of you. This may be a little more challenging for the non-school board members, but you're learning a lot tonight.
So here's classified job is in place with properly according to your policies, ordinances, policies,
And some from Cookie.
Well, I think it's either oversight or no big deal. I say, I think we should do it.
job. I feel that since we're on the board, we should have safe
Overstep.
So once you've made your decision, share it at your table.
So, just to clear, overstep is different from not a good idea.
Overstepping is when you really have gone beyond your role as a board member.
The board held.
Not a good idea, like, really,
This is at least post office. Co-inspired person that we have been called you specifically questioned about what something had happened and you called the board chair, the superintendent, and tell me that there was been a breach. You want them to know. So once somebody calls you on that, I feel that you should be called.
Good oversight, yeah.
I think if you're going to a PTA,
That was pretty. Here's a pretty cut and dry one. And these are all true. No big deal, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, but this was interesting, Tam, because a lot of people will say, what if there is someone on the team they didn't want their son or daughter on, yeah, you know, like, and that's, well, okay, but even there you go. See, that's what you have to do. That's the question. But again, how would you know if, yes, the board members, so while you guys are doing the budget process, so that would be a good oversight, like, hey, we're supposed to be into the picture. All right, so I had one that uses oversight too, before that, exactly. And as long as it's not on the Anchorage School District website, identifying that student, it's hard to control as a parent. You know, it's just that whole, like, there's just so many things that can be brought up. That's what I thought my dad was. But anytime a board member comes up with I would give input.
Right, to have the review. Yeah, right there, you know, it says no.
So then she continues posting.
You have a choice to teacher in your bag.
Look, and pretty dry. All right.
So I'm sorry we're probably not going to get to everything for tonight. I thought that this was more important.
Yes.
I'm not used to just 2 hours. All right. So what I'd like you to do is each of you just pick, each person pick one of their scenarios, and we're going to read it out loud and share with the group what you think it is. So Elise, I'm going to start with you. Okay. So let's listen to Elise. And some of you will have this one because everybody, like, it's doubled in the room. So
Yeah, so for those that have paying attention to their numbers, number 3, at a meeting, a board member demands that all future fund transfers come in front of the entire board to vote on. I called this an overstep, and I did it because most boards already have a policy. So even if you want it to be that way and you have the board member vote to go that way, you need to go through your policy first and either change your policy or whatever. But in that scenario of a meeting, it is an overstep.
And I would agree 100%. What is the limit here that your superintendent and or her team can spend without coming to the board?
For transfers? Is what this
For
is?
transfers,
For fund
we just
transfers?
upped it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 250.
So it's just that kind of stuff that's good for board members to know. What is the limit? So, all right, thank you. How about Matt? What's one of yours?
The board is discussing the upcoming budget process at a work session. A board member brings up that there is no mention of district goals or a strategic plan in the process. They remember that during AASB's Winter Academy presentation on budget, that the budget should be tied to the district's strategic plan. And that's oversight.
Very good oversight. We should make sure that the budget is aligned with our goals. Nikki.
Okay, so I have, due to a retirement, there is an opening at the district. The superintendent begins the process as noted in the HR procedures. A board member indicates that she wants to be involved in the process, as she wants to give her input into the hiring. And I said that was an overstep. All right.
Okay, well, you can just read one because somebody else will come up with this one, I'm sure. Gretchen.
I think you guys didn't do 16. The board directed the superintendent to pull a team together to work on new long-range goals and vision statement. 3 board members come to the superintendent prior to the scheduled meeting, saying they can save a lot of time and money as they have put together a proposed vision and goals, and the committee can simply use their ideas. I said this is overstep or not a good idea. I couldn't remember which one was worse, but.
It's overstep, and not only is it overstep, in most boards that are only 5 members, what else is that?
Public meetings.
Three people have gotten together in a 5-member board, that's breaking the open meeting law. So, and honestly, that was like word for word from a superintendent. So, those are the kind of things that are happening. Elise?
Okay, which one do you want?
I did this one.
Okay. During a board meeting, there are several board members who have questions about expenditures that were in a budget they approved, including purchase of the new technology for the high school. Board members are curious about how the money was spent, and they want to make sure that the teachers are receiving professional development so they know how to teach with new technology. We thought that was no big deal, oversight, that was good, just checking in.
Boards just checking in, asking good questions. Hey, we got all this technology. Are the teachers being trained on it so that they know how to properly use it in the classrooms? It's good oversight. Andy?
Number 10, a staff member commits an alleged crime, and the board president wants the entire board to talk about the superintendent's recommendation in executive session. And I would call that oversight.
Absolutely, good oversight. It's an alleged crime. The superintendent wants to just keep the board informed, and you're going to do it in executive session. Good oversight.
With the alleged crime.
Right, not the staff member.
Oh, it's a staff member.
It's a staff member.
So will you give the person the option to be there?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Star, what's one of yours?
Do I have to read one or can I just say one?
You can make one up.
Hypothetically. So it goes out on the school board website that they're looking for people to review the new curriculum that's coming out. So as a board member, you put your name on that list so that you can be part of that committee.
Okay.
So should you be able to do that?
I see no reason as long as there's not 3 of you on that committee. I mean, what happens? This is so some of our rural sites, like Chatham School District has people in Angoon, Gustavus, Tenakee, and Klep And so when they're working on the budget, there's 2 board members already on the budget committee, and one wants to call in. Suddenly there's 3 at the meeting. It can't be. So you can be on in my opinion, as a board member, you can be on the committee, yes. Where you'd run into the problem here in this district is that there were 4 of you on the committee.
So let me give you their concerns.
Okay.
That it would keep other staff members from expressing their concerns, or they might feel intimidated.
Board members run into that all the time. I'm not here as a parent, or I'm not here as a board member, I'm here as a parent tonight. It is almost virtually impossible to not be looked at as a board member. But I see any committee a board member can, in my opinion, my humble opinion, a board member.
We have some disagreement on that in our district because our superintendent has stated that when board members serve on those committees with staff and community, that it's hard to divorce your role as a board member.
I do understand that.
It intimidates those discussions.
Which is unfortunate, but technically, legally, you can be on it. So,
Okay, just hypothetical.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
You have to be careful, not overuse your power.
And maybe that's it too, is how do you act in the committee? Are you one that's just opinion, or do you really just sit back and listen and try to take it in?
Just hypothetical.
I'm sure it's just hypothetical. James, which one is one of yours?
Short one or long one?
Whatever one you want.
All right, let's go with this one. Board member called a district contractor here and asked the favor to change the color of a new paint for the hallways. The contractor changed the paint color, and the superintendent was surprised with the final bill arrived charging double for the paint. The original color and the new color. I would say that is extremely
overstepping.
Extremely overstepping. And again, I don't want to remind you, but these are actual things that happen.
And the board members should get to know.
Because what happens is, again, people see you as a board member as someone of authority. And if you're in a small town and you come up to someone and you say, hi, I'm Nikki, I'm on the school board, and that color green is so bad, I can't deal, I really want you to change it. Okay, Katie.
Oh, a board member comes in to meet with the superintendent and the member wants the district to change the math curriculum. He has heard about great instructional materials from his brother who teaches in another district. He has a lot of information, including textbooks, that he wants to share with the board and the superintendent. Oversight?
It's what?
Oversight?
I thought overstep. It's probably verging on this bit of overstep. If there's been a committee formed, if it's the review time for the math, number one, is it a review cycle for math? Number two, have they put a committee together? And number three, you know, here's something that I'd like the committee to look at. But taking it to the board and superintendent by bypassing the committee is what I really had the problem with on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard because, yeah, you would think it's no big deal, but there's so many buts that come into that. Is it the review cycle time?
I would say one caveat to that, because this just occurred, when I was at the National School Board Association, there was all these different interesting programs. I brought back tons of literature and I gave it to the superintendent. I didn't give her any instruction on what to do with it. I said, this may be of interest. Here, here's something to national.
And that's absolutely, that's totally different.
So I understand the fine lines there.
Yeah. All right. Laurel.
All right. I have the math one too, but I'll read my.
Yeah, as I said, there's duplicates. So.
I have, a board had an executive session last week dealing with a specific student, but this week at the post office, a community member approached you and asked you a specific question about something that was discussed in that executive session. You call the board chair and the superintendent, tell them there was a breach of confidentiality, and you just want them to know. Seems like good oversight to be sharing that information.
Absolutely good oversight to share that information. The real problem is, which is another issue, is how did that breach happen?
Yeah.
But the good oversight is that you called the board chair, Tam, and you called Dr. Bishop and you said, wait, I just want the two of you to know that I was just informed of something that was discussed in executive session. And then the board chair takes it from there.
Because you could be legally prosecuted.
Yes.
That's a no-no.
All right, David, which one did you have?
A veteran board member is a retired lunchroom lady. She pops in weekly at her former schools, seldom signing in at the office. She wanders the halls and talks with teachers and students. She loved her time at the school and simply wants to keep the connection open. And we agreed that was not a good idea.
It's really
the
not.
problems were that she didn't sign in, and that she's just wandering the halls, interrupting the teachers and students in their days.
That's exactly the issues there. And
I think it'd be very different if she was going to a PTA meeting or a
site council.
Yeah,
And this board member, I love her dearly, is still a board member. So I get phone calls on her occasionally. Yes, we laugh, but it's true. Kathleen.
I got a good one, you'll appreciate it.
Okay.
A board member wants to bring a student with them to the AASB fly-in. In the past, they have seen other districts bring youth, and it seemed to add to the advocacy visit. The board member asked the board chair to add this topic to the upcoming board agenda. I think it's no big deal, and it's actually a great idea. It's part of oversight of what we would do as a board.
Yep. And it's the right procedure. I know you do. But it's the good procedure. You want to put it on the agenda to discuss. Here's the itinerary for the youth. And we want them down there with us to be voiced. And I know you guys bring people. So.
And we also have, the board members have to go through chaperone training so they understand the limits of and responsibilities you have when you have a young person with you, because you cannot leave them unattended.
Yes.
And you cannot drink in front of them, and you can't do a whole bunch of stuff. There's a lot.
Dina, how about you?
An enthusiastic, newly elected member has focused on being available to staff and parents to field questions and attempt to solve problems. They post on Facebook that they'd love to hear from individuals about issues that may arise at their school, and they even encourage people to text them if it is easier. They post their number as well. 2 days later, the board member visits the superintendent and shares all the comments and continues to tell the superintendent to do something about them. The board member brings these issues to the board meeting and asks about the progress. I would say that is overstep and definitely not a good idea.
Absolutely overstep. And it's social media. I mean, we could do I have a whole presentation. We're going to do something on it at the annual conference this year because it is becoming such an issue, and using it properly, because it can be very effective. But it's that, in that situation, the key then would be that they go to the superintendent and say, do something about this.
So I should not have done that.
Oh, Andy. I can't believe Dr. Bishop got me that in 1 week. No.
There was a session at NSBA specifically on this because there are a lot of lawsuits going to be against board members across the country. And I intend to...
You still in my thunder?
April 24th.
Is it this one?
Yes, social media guide for board members.
So,
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Whoever gave the session.
this was this is the Maryland Association of School Boards.
Maryland State.
Maryland State, yeah. Yeah, and a team.
And in another session about laws and things, I heard about it from the lawyers about lawsuits against board members.
Okay. Yep. Excellent. And the other thing with texting, this is the only caveat I'll say about texting. It is, I mean, as a school board member, you should always use the Anchorage School District email for every communication, because it could be asked for in a court hearing and go through it, and you don't want your Yahoo account to be every email you ever sent there also to go. Same thing with texting. If someone texts you, I recommend that you just say, thank you for contacting me. Please put it in writing at my email address here. Texting is not the appropriate way for me to gather school board information. It must go through the district email. Because, again, all of your texts could be taken and requested.
Under
Yes,
employee.
and then, yep. So,
When I have emails sent to my personal email, when I respond, I usually respond on my ASD email, or I CC it to my ASD email. Let's put it at that, because board members' emails are archived for all time.
for all. All right, last but not least table here. Betty, what was yours?
The one that's already been discussed, the last one was the board is discussing the upcoming budget process at work section. A board member brings up that there is no mention of the district goals or the strategic plan in the process. They remember that during the AASB's winter conference presentation on budget, that the budget should be tied to the district's strategic plan. It's just planning, and that's good discussion. It's not oversight.
It's good it is good oversight. Yep.
It is oversight.
It's not overstepping to ask that.
Yes.
Christina.
Before a board meeting, a board member asks the superintendent for an update on the hiring of the new principal. The board member asks again in the meeting, so the question will be on the record. That's just good oversight.
Very good oversight. You can ask the question, and then once you may already know the answer, but it's good to show the public that you're asking good questions. Maria? Oh, you can read one of yours.
Oh, this one has been mentioned already.
Is the other one?
This one. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
There is an opening for an elementary teacher in your district. A graduate of your district has recently received their teaching degree and has applied for the job. Many of your constituents have come to you hoping you can help get the student hired. You let the superintendent know about the calls and emails you have received, and also encourage the superintendent to hire this individual. So it's an overstep.
So it was pretty good oversight up until the last 10 words. And encourage the superintendent to hire that individual. It was fine up until then. If it had been
You
period.
should really think about that.
Huh? Yeah, right. Really think about that. Last but not least, Tam.
A proud board member posts on Facebook and Instagram when their high school team won the state basketball tournament. He's very proud of the team and posts a picture of them as well. It's no big deal until you come to the picture, because unless the picture was taken in a public setting, in which case it is, you could take pictures of students, you would need to make sure that you had media releases on the students. it's a good idea, even if it is in a public setting, to not have upset parents calling in.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you for playing along with this. I think these, as silly as they might have seemed, or as much as we giggled a little bit, it really is, these are all real. I did not make these up. So, I told Tam, I don't usually do 2-hour workshops. Now I know why, because I tried to put too much into here. So we're not going to have a lot of time, but I put on everybody's page a little bit about tonight, and I really thought that this article by the Center for Public Education is part of the National School Board Association, NSBA. And this article talks about 8 characteristics of an effective school board. And if you went down through here, I bet you'd see that your school board is yes to many of these. Can we always improve? Of course. But do we have a vision? Yes. Do we have shared beliefs and values? Yes. Do we have policies? Yes. And we're going to update those. Are we data savvy? I'd like to think you guys are. You're constantly digging in and looking. Do you offer professional development to your employees as well as yourself? Yes. Look at what we're doing tonight. Are you a united team with your superintendent? I would say yes. Again, we have 2 new members though. Change is everything. I don't know if any of you have ever hosted an exchange student. Yeah. But if you have, your family becomes very different the minute that person walks through the door. So you have to get ready for the new team. And then every year that team changes. And you just have to be really aware of that. And then effective boards take part in board development and training. So some key things there I would encourage you to look at a little bit more. There's some danger signs on the back page. It's a real short article. And I think the next article is exactly the same, but just written differently. And then last but not least, the article that Tam and I were talking about 6 months ago, and I dug, and my colleague in Indiana or Illinois, one of the I's, Indiana. So my colleague Michael wrote this article on consensus building. And I would encourage the current board to read through this article and maybe have a 15-minute discussion in an upcoming work session on it, Tam, or a half, it might be a topic to continue to just dialogue a little bit about. It's a short article. Michael's been there many, many years. He's very smart man, and so it's a very short article. But I do think that there's some good information there, and whether it's the school board or if you have another group that needs to work a little bit on consensus building, there you go. So I'm sorry we didn't get to those.
Would he be open to, if board members gave the questions and I sent them to him, would he be open to a online teleconference?
I'm sure he would.
That may
my Michael would do that because I've done that for other states. So that's how we roll in the NSBA world.
So I'll tell him you said that.
Yeah, I'll give him. Well, give me a heads up first so I can let him know.
No surprises.
No surprises. So I'm sorry we didn't get to everything, but I do feel that the discussions we had were great. So I'd like us to maybe just whip around and one takeaway that you're going to leave with, something that stuck with you or you're going to give you some pause to think about as you leave here tonight. Matt.
Oh, you had to do the first one.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't think that quickly, but
I'm sorry.
I
can come back.
There's just more to think about than just, this is how I think or feel on something. What is policies? What are, how are things presented? And, how are you presenting them? So
it's a lot more than just getting elected.
I think my takeaway is all of the people sitting in this room that are not elected board members that are here and very interested in this process, and that makes me very, very excited to see this kind of participation in our community. And so I'll just say thank you to everybody who's here because they wanted to not
the being a board member is a very specific role. It's not moving up a power triangle that gives you authority over everything beneath you. You actually come in and play a very prescribed part with limits, and that's about it.
Thank you.
I think that it's a very complex team effort, and I think that the team always has to keep its eye on something that's a goal that's not personal. It's the goal is about this big piece of students that's
And all students.
and all students. And I think that's just a really important takeaway.
Gretchen?
I find it interesting that I'm sure during elections, sometimes they're so close and different candidates. And then whatever other people decide, you guys have to build a team that can come to consensus. And to move from the election to a team, I salute what you do.
Very much.
Yes, very much. Star?
It's a good reinforcement because a lot of the stuff we've heard as board members, but it's always a good reinforcement to remind us. You know, I don't think I have to be reminded why I'm here. I know why I'm here. But a reminder of how to play nicely and, you know, to follow and not to, you know, we all have our passions, and to realize that we've got, I now call it emotional correctness. And so that's what I'm working on.
James?
I think this whole time has just been it's been a lot of different takeaways. I really emphasize education that plays the relationship between the school board and the school team. I think that's very important to see that dynamic work out. Because ultimately that we want that to translate into successful students, and we want to make sure that you have a strong school board and a very strong relationship with the superintendent. That's when they implement those things that are going to make it successful. So this was great. Really like that piece of it. The whole thing so far, just
Your brain is full.
I got more to do too.
And I thought it was a really good training, and I echo what Lisa said. Again, it's exciting that there's so many people here to learn more about the district.
Dave?
It was about 25 years ago, my dad came down to visit me in my late father came down to visit me in Juneau. And he wasn't much to do there other than just go around with me. So I took him to every meeting I went to as a legislator. And we used to have this thing where annually we'd get together with all the senators and representatives from a specific area, and we would decide what we wanted in the capital budget, and we probably did an amount of money that we could spend. It was back when they actually had a capital budget, or a little tiny one. And so my dad was in the meeting with us, and at some point, my dad said, "Say, is this one of those secret meetings I'm always reading about in the paper?" And Senator Rhodey said, "No, Mr. Donnelly, you're here." And it just reminds me that this group's not exempt from the Open Meetings Act, so I'm going to have to always keep that in mind.
It's
16
definitely
years of not being in this kind of same legislative circumstance, but not being subject to open.
Same elected kind of thing, but very different role, responsibilities from legislator to being on a school board. Nikki?
I really enjoyed, I adjudicate a lot of different events for the new AAB team, and I enjoyed being a fly on the wall and listening to the different members, Andy and Dave I know I knew, but Lisa and Pam and Kathleen and all these, and Star, where are you? And Penny, just hearing them take responsibility and delineate those responsibilities and say, I want to take this as mine, this is going to be my role, and I'm going to fulfill that responsibility. Just hearing those dynamics work together makes me think that more people should be aware of this process. I guess I was unaware of the intense work that is involved, the time commitment that is involved, and this little handbook was really valuable because I think what we discussed was in our little group was there are so many little responsibilities and procedures and policies that they have to follow that, you know, as just average citizen and a mom, I just take it for granted that they're doing their job, and I hope that they're fulfilling those roles and responsibilities. But the outcome I really get from this was hearing those dynamics and hearing, as I sit and listen to them talk, is, wow, they really do care about our students and our children. Also the staff, also the people that they hire and are professionally motivated to help. It's really
Just all the different ideas, not just from 7 or 8 people, was really powerful as we developed our team again. And then the reminder for me that all the AASB webinars are open to absolutely everyone. And the website's aasb.org.
It's a really hard one. Thank you. Dina?
So, going through especially the pieces that Kathleen and I went through, it was really just the importance of communication and expectations and, just really clear policies. And I know that works in my family best if there's just clear guidelines up front and people know that, these are pretty set in stone, and it just makes everything a lot better. And I think also, one of the people here said, thinking about the fact that, maybe you said this, Elise, it's not, none of this is personal, that everybody really is coming from the same place of wanting the best possible outcomes for our students and our children, and finding ways to engage them in meaningful educational experiences and supporting our teachers who, if they're not happy, there's not going to be a good experience for the kids, and just all of that stuff. That everybody has the same goals and they may have different ways of getting there, but it's not personal, and hopefully everybody respects each other's intentions.
What? I thought that this whole thing shows great on that effective school boards having team development, team training, and kudos to you guys for letting community members who want to be a part of it, sit in with it. So that was neat. I really loved the dating part. Talking to the IT guy and how he really sees how he is helping tell who the kids who've had so many absences, so the principals can take action faster. Places that you wouldn't maybe think were so connected to student learning, how there's so many different roles where you can make a difference. So that was
Christine?
Yeah, I just would like to thank you all for your service. It's a really important role you guys do in governing for the school board, and it was just phenomenal to see the big picture today and being able to better advocate for the role that you do and for the role our schools play.
Betty?
I just want to say, you were a great trainer, and I enjoyed this section. I didn't get bored at all, and I'm glad to look at faces because most of my information with the board has been me calling in, and I'm at home and they're at the meeting.
Well, then
So it's good to be in the room for this long, and I appreciate the fact that I didn't get bored at all because there was a lot of good discussion just in this short time that we had.
Well,
thank you very much.
Thank you, Betty. Maria?
Well, the long and short of it, my take is I appreciate the school board much better now. Not that I haven't, but I do appreciate. And that being in the school board takes the best threads of your person. And the heart of it all is education, the students and the staff and everyone else involved in education. I have a greater appreciation of all of that.
And last but not least, Madam Chair.
I really appreciate how having community members here is helping our board come together as a new team, a newly constituted team, and understanding that we support each other, and some of us mess up at different times, and we're there to help provide guidance, and we have a broader base of people too that have the same goals that can help us become better and better boards. So I think that's a really important part. I feel supported by my community too.
Well, and I just personally, after working with the School Board Association for 18 years, I can never thank my board members enough. The time that you volunteer and give up and dedicate to help every student in our state is just, it's a thankless job a lot of times. And I also cannot thank the community members that are here enough, because you being here means that there's more advocates out there to even support the board. And you can, that little, I went to this training, and I learned so much about what board members have to do. The more we can share that, the more it doesn't seem like they're this elitist group that's sitting up there willy-nilly deciding what to cut and what not to. There's a lot that goes into it, a lot of work and attention. And lastly, more than anything, I know that time is the most valuable thing any of us have, and the fact that you invited me and I got to be here and work with you, and you participate in everything I ask you to do, I just really appreciate your time and energy. And I know we're a few minutes over, but thank you so much, and go on, go forward, then I'll see you next time.
Board members, seated and about to be seated board members, we have one small little housekeeping task, and that's determining where we're going to sit. With the exception of the vice president and the president, or the superintendent and Katie, the other seats, we need to go sit in the seat you would like to have. And we'll figure out if it's going to work. Thank you so much.